Today, I'm honored to introduce Robyn Dobbins. Robyn is a certified health advisor with the Nutrition Network and a member of the Society of Metabolic Health Practitioners. She specializes in personalized, evidence-based strategies to help clients achieve sustainable wellness and metabolic health. For years, Robyn battled bipolar disorder, OCD, and depression. Embracing a low-carb, ketogenic lifestyle transformed her health, supporting a sustained 50-pound weight loss and mental wellness recovery. Inspired by this life changing transformation, she now helps others find healing through personalized metabolic therapy through her coaching and community at Harbinger Health LLC. Driven by gratitude and a strong desire to give back, she volunteers for various metabolic health organizations, participates in clinical studies, and hosts the podcast Ketobiography, where she shares stories and insights to educate and inspire individuals exploring metabolic health and mental wellness. In addition, Robyn serves as community coordinator for the nonprofit Metabolic Collective. In this role, she builds inclusive online communities that nurture authentic connections and peer support centered on Metabolic Mind's Think+Smart framework, a toolkit developed by lived experience experts that helps members improve brain and body energy use through nutritional ketosis and sustainable lifestyle practices. She's an amazing person with an inspiring story, and I'm very grateful to have her here with us today. So, Robyn, I really appreciate you coming on for our listeners. Thank you. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much. That introduction really makes it sound like I do a lot, and I feel like I just sit around all the time. I stare at the screen a lot. But hey, that's awesome. I'm feeling pretty good right now. So thank you.
Yeah, no, that's great. No, I mean, you've got an amazing story, and I'm really appreciative that you're going to share it with us. Yeah, we have to start with what mental health diagnosis did you first receive, and when was that?
I like that you're starting from the beginning because I often jump around, so this helps. This helps a lot. So my first official diagnosis was postpartum depression. That was in 2005 when my son was born. Um, I had gotten into an argument with my husband after a lot of just like writing notes to myself. Like I was writing, I don't want to do this. I don't want to be here anymore. I mean, just very like low things. We were having an argument and I actually lost the ability to talk. And um I was writing stuff and he was saying stuff and I was writing in response. And he finally just kind of was like, "Are you okay? Do you want to hurt yourself?" And I was like, "Yeah, I don't want to be here anymore." So he contacted my doctor because he didn't know what to do. And so he contacts the doctor and they said, "Well, does she want to hurt the baby?" And he's like, "Do you want to hurt the baby?" And I'm like, "I just don't want anything right now. Like, I don't really want to hurt this child, but also at the same time, I really don't want to participate in this life that I've created for myself either." Which it prompted a quick turnaround to going to the emergency room and being watched. And um, it was really the first time that all of this came to light. Now I can look back on this event now and say, I really think this depressive state that I was in started when I was in high school. I just didn't want to talk about it. I was scared to talk about it. It was, you know, it's still quite a thing to be open about mental health. There's a lot that goes, we end up being a punchline a lot, or people will think that you're scary, or there was just so much with that I just try to keep it quiet. If you look at my high school yearbook, it's like, "Robyn, keep being great, keep being the person you're so happy." So I faked it really well, but I was absolutely miserable through high school. Most of that did not change through college. And then, this child is born several years later, and it just all came to a head at that point.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. So, postpartum depression, um, when you first got that label, what was your first feeling or what your first thoughts?
Well, honestly, I wasn't surprised. So, like I said, I think my family was surprised, but I wasn't surprised. I knew it had been going on for a long time. And I just wanted to be able to participate in life and not feel that way. So it turned into just here, take this antidepressant. That was it. There was no like go see someone, just the doctor prescribing, well, you're depressed, so here's this. And I don't even remember which one at this point.
Yeah.
Things, I guess got better. It's hard. It's hard to imagine, but my baby boy is 20 years old now. So that
Wow.
was 20 years ago.
Wow.
So it's hard to really go back and remember what that was like. And that's when we made the decision that I would then become a stay-at-home mom. I quit my job. And so I was just me and baby for several years until my second child was born.
Yeah.
When I became pregnant with my daughter, I was still on those mental health meds. This was
Yeah.
like 2.5 years later. And I was like, I have no idea what this is doing to this baby I'm growing inside of me. So perhaps I should take myself off these medications. So I did go to the doctor and I was like, I'm on these meds. I'm not sure what they're going to do. I don't know what to think. Let's try going off of them. And they were okay with it, and we did. But it was still, my husband traveled a lot. We were actually living in a new state. So I didn't have my family support group around anymore. So it's me and toddler pregnant in a new place. And I wasn't winning that battle. So I ended up going back to the doctor and I was like, I'm not winning this battle. And I get put back on the meds.
Yeah.
Still no like counseling, no psychiatrist, no nothing. It was just the OBGYN and me and
Yeah.
taking the pills that they prescribed to make me better, whatever better looks like.
Yep.
And it just wasn't easy. It never was easy, even with the pills. But
Yeah.
just maybe a little bit calmer, but still not easy to live that life.
Yeah. Yeah. Calmer, but not better. When did bipolar come into the picture?
So this was several years later. Uh, we had the family moved again, and even further away from family this time. And I don't know what my thought process was. My second child, my daughter, was an infant when we moved. And so I had this appointment with this new OBGYN, like a baby well visit check and just make sure mommy's okay. And I never disclosed that I was on that medication.
Hmm.
And so I just stopped
Yeah.
taking it. They didn't ask, I didn't tell, and we just kept pushing forward. So I had gone, let's see, kiddo one was 3 at the time, and when I stopped taking the medication, and he was probably 7
Hmm.
when I started really noticing issues again. Again, I never went back to work, so I was home. It was me and my 2 little ones. My husband traveled, so he'd be gone for a full week at a time. So it was a lot on my plate to take care of the kiddos. And I remember a lot of times being like, I should be enjoying this. Like, I should be sitting on the floor playing with these kids because they're kids and they're mine, and I should be loving all of this, but I hate it. I hate all of this. It's terrible. I want to get out. And that was probably the biggest thing. Like, I always wanted to get away. I was angry, just so angry all the time. I would drive my kids to school and just scream at them the whole way and drop them off and feel incredibly guilty for the rest of the day and try to be this different person when they came home. They rode the bus home, so I'd meet them at the door with this pleasantries and stuff. And like, I know they have to know that I was an evil person this morning, and now all of a sudden I'm trying to be this different person. So they were always kind of confused by me. I think they were always scared of me. But they only had me. I was their only person home, except for on the weekends when my husband was there. And when he was there, it'd be just like, I'm dumping it all on you. I don't want anything to do with this. I'm gonna go try to just hide. Reading a lot of books just to escape because I couldn't actually get away. So I would just escape in novels. Um, so that's when I started really realizing that this can't be a normal behavior, and perhaps I'm more ill than I want to let on. So again, I went to my general practitioner. I didn't know what else to do. I actually read several books about bipolar disorder, several just like biographies or autobiographies about people who had bipolar disorder, and so much of it resonated with me. I looked at my husband and I was like, I think this is me. I think this is what I'm going through. So I go to this general practitioner and I say, I think I have bipolar disorder. And I'm sure there was questions there, but it wasn't like an extensive research. It was, here's some medication. This is an antipsychotic medication, and you can go on it. However, I did get this referral to go see a psychiatrist, and which I did do. And that process was so let's see if I'm trying to think of the year that was, maybe like 2011, 2012. Um, that process of seeing that kind of professional was not what I expected. However, I did feel this sense of relief with getting a diagnosis. I thought that, um, well, I will get the proper medications and I will be better. And I truly believed that, which actually started my journey of being vocal. I wanted people to know that people with bipolar disorder live amongst every one of us, and that we're not all going to just flip out and be like, we could be just normal people within society. And so I started, it was very short-lived, writing a blog about what was going on with me and the medications and this kind of stuff. Like, I wanted people to know that I didn't have to be scary. Like, I could just be a normal person in society. And because I'm diligently taking my meds and I'm diligently seeing my doctors, and everything's going to be okay. Um, but it wasn't okay. There was a couple of things that happened. First of all, where we lived was kind of a psychiatry desert. I had a doctor that I went to,
Mm.
filled out a questionnaire, had a very quick conversation, and that's where meds would get adjusted.
Nah.
Um, would go back and see monthly, fill out the questionnaire, have a quick conversation, and adjust the meds. And when I say adjust the meds, this could be going on and coming off of meds constantly. Like any cocktail, it was always an antipsychotic and an antidepressant, not always the same one each time. So I'd be titrating up and
Yep.
titrating off um,
Yep.
all the time. So nothing was ever really consistent. And then that office would close and I'd have to find another doctor. I'd go into the doctor. I think I switched 3 or 4 times, and it got to the point that when I walked into the waiting room and I saw the little card that was placed on the table by the pharmaceutical rep, I knew that I was going to be off of the cocktail I was currently on and put onto this new cocktail that was what this doctor was providing.
Yep.
So I tried so hard to make that work,
Yep.
but it became such a challenge. I didn't have a lot of support. Again, we didn't live close to home. My family traveled. My husband was having to take off a day of work to stay with the kids so that I could drive an hour or two to see the closest doctor. And it was just getting harder and harder and harder. So I went back to my general practitioner. I was like, I can't find the care that I need, but this is the medication I'm on.
Yeah.
And he was like, I'll just keep prescribing it.
Duh.
And that's how that was for several years later. I just stayed on that dose of those meds forever. And he just kept refilling prescription. I wasn't talking to anyone. I wasn't seeking any additional help. It was too challenging to make that work. It was just take these meds.
Oh.
Now I'll go into the meds. The meds sedated me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sedated me to the point where I was setting an alarm to wake up to get my kids ready for school,
Yeah.
taking them to school, going to bed, setting an alarm to make sure I was awake for them when they were delivered back to the house by the school bus. So it wasn't even like I had to drive out there to get them. I just had to stand. And then I would make it work to whatever their evening activities were, get that done, put them to bed. I would go to bed.
Yeah.
So I was asleep most of the time. And when I was awake, all of that anger was still there because I had all of these things I needed to do and I couldn't get them done and I didn't have the energy.
Yeah.
And things just weren't going the way I wanted them to. I wanted this control and it was everything was just out of control.
Yeah.
So that anger was back. So again, my kids are still scared of me.
Yeah.
They only see me when I'm angry and I'm always angry. And it was just horrible. I wasn't managed. I wasn't better. I was sedated and I was angry. And that was the pattern for years.
Wow. 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 It's amazing. It's a lot to go through, but even through those years, there's this perseverance. Um, but then there's you got to tell me about this round of lab work that you get and what happens next.
I am turning 40. So at 40 years old, my general practitioner, he's like, this is a milestone age. Let's do some blood work. And I was like, okay, let's do it. Fine. So I do this blood work. And I don't have I could probably pull it up, but my triglycerides were like, I don't know, through the roof. They were high. Just numbers all over the place.
Yeah.
Cholesterol levels just wonky, just
Mm-hmm.
not what you want to see. And of course, any practitioner worth their salt is going to prescribe a statin. Meanwhile, before that, my husband has always struggled with his weight, and he had been listening to podcasts. So he was starting to get an idea about this kind of low carb movement. It was still very new. I don't even know that we were using the word keto at the time.
Yeah.
Just like low carb, high fat was going around, LCHF, all that stuff was going
Yep.
around at the time. So he had a familiarity with it, and he was sharing that with me because he was thinking about that was how he was going to try to lose weight. And I guess in one of the podcasts that he had listened to, somebody was talking about statins and that
Yeah.
they weren't actually all they were cracked up to be. I didn't really have a lot of knowledge about that. However, I had that little tiny piece of information in my head. So when my doctor said, I need you to go on a statin, my response was, I don't want to be on any more medication. I'm already managing all this and it's already hard.
Yeah.
Will I die in 6 months if I just decide to change my diet for 6 months? I
Yeah.
know about this thing. I've heard about this thing. I want to try it. Will I die? And for whatever reason, he said, no, I don't think you'll die. Let's try it.
Yep.
And so that's what I did. I tried it. And the day after my 40th birthday is the day that I consider day one. And I started what is called NSNG,
Yeah.
no sugars, no grains. That's trademarked by Vinny Tortorich. I followed him. I listened to his podcast religiously. He would have like Facebook Lives at the time. I'd go on and ask questions. I became a member of his Facebook group. And that's what I did. This was really before this time of really checking everything and testing
Yeah.
everything. It was so simple.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think that's what I love about NSNG. It's
Yeah.
simple. If it's a sugar, don't eat it. If it's a grain, don't eat it. And that's what I did.
Yep.
Uh, it just did that. I had to stop my daily massive bowl of ice cream habit and I turned it into a massive bowl of yogurt. I didn't like yogurt. I had to learn to like it, but that's what I did. I just made those adjustments.
Wow.
I didn't go with um I never was like, I want to try an alternate sugar. It
Mm.
was a sugar to me. I'm not going to do it. So I never did any alternate sugars, and I never tried to make an alternate bread. I just cut it out. So for what I know those are things that people struggle with, and for
Yep.
whatever reason, I guess I knew enough about myself. It's like if I make an alternate, it's never going to scratch that itch. So I might as well just cold turkey it and get rid of it. So I
Yeah.
did. Um, 6 months later, I go back and I have those blood work done. Everything is trending in the correct direction.
Yeah.
And my doctor says, I'm not going to prescribe you the statin.
Nice.
Just keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
And so that I did, and I have, and it's never stopped.
Yeah. 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 That's amazing. You know, yeah, NSNG, it's so simple, and I think that's why compliance is so easy. It is true. There are a lot of different variations of the ketogenic diet now, and I think there's so many knobs that people are pulling right now. But this it's nice, this intuitive NSNG. I find it really interesting that you get to NSNG because you made some decisions about how you wanted to approach your cholesterol because you got lab work. But I'm thinking, why wasn't lab work part of standard of care when you got diagnosed with depression? Why wasn't lab work something that was pulled when you get diagnosed with bipolar? And it's just medication here. I had a similar experience with my dad. My dad got diagnosed with early onset Alzheimer's in 2018. But in 2020, we kind of had out of left field episode. COVID kicked off like a psychosis, and we were trying to figure it out at the time. But he got sectioned, and of course, he got set up with a cocktail of medication, antipsychotics, and antidepressants all at once, and it definitely stabilized him and made him safe. Long story short, he's lost that dementia psychosis diagnosis, which they said wasn't going to be possible. It was mostly through same sort of dietary interventions that you've made. Um, but before that, we had a rough 9 months of same thing you're talking about. Let's manage it with this medication and let's titrate this and let's go up here and the whole time I'm thinking no one's pulling blood work to figure out what's actually going on, huh? So great on you to take that opportunity with the lab work and make a dietary intervention that then leads to this whole other world. So now you do NSNG. What benefits do you start experiencing from this shift, other than your cholesterol numbers getting better?
Yeah, so really all that I pay attention to is that my weight is dropping like wild. So I was thankfully, I guess I was drugged. I don't know, but I was blissfully unaware that I was overweight. So all of a sudden, all this weight is dropping, and I have this energy. So I start going for walks. That's all I was doing. It was like I'll go for. I don't know what to do with myself. I'm awake throughout most of the day. Um, I'll go for a walk. I don't know. I don't know what to do with myself. So, um, that those were really the changes that I noticed immediately. Things like being able to participate in more things. Like I was involved in scouts. My son's an Eagle Scout. So I was involved with scouts, and at first when I started being involved in scouts, it was very frustrating. Again, the anger was coming out to all these young boys that I was I was their leader, and we'd go camping, and I'd get triggered by something, and uh, so that started to change. I started to get more involved with things, or started to realize what I could do and where my limitations were. Like I noticed that, like I noticed my limitations and would say, I have a limitation. I need to make sure I stop it here before it goes too far. Um, but I never really associated any of that with mental health clarity or anything like that, because at the time my mindset was I'm on these medications and this is the only way to treat this problem, and I'm going to be this way forever. So I'm just going to take these medications. So it's kind of interesting. I became an avid podcast listener. So I hear Dr. Eid on a podcast, and she's talking about her practice and what she's noticing and all this stuff. And I'm like, huh,
Mm,
I- I'm I'm on I'm on a low carb diet. And there's a really high chance I'm in ketosis. I don't know because I never checked anything.
Yeah.
It just wasn't a thing. This is 2017, 2018, but it just wasn't as commonplace as it is now. Um, I'm like, I'm awake all the time. I have energy. And again, our family moved, and this time we moved halfway across the country. So we're even further away from support group, the supportive family. And we've lost our family of friends. And I realized like I wasn't curled up in a ball. I was looking forward to this new adventure. I was helping my kiddos get used to a whole new area and taking them out on just like exploratory missions just to get to know the area. And I hear this on this podcast, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I might be getting better, and I don't know it because obviously all that sleepiness is still there. All of that just sedation is still there. And in some ways it's worse because I've now lost 50 pounds and I'm still on the same dose of this
Oh,
antipsychotic and this antidepressant. And I'm just religiously taking it, and I could feel it take hold, and I would just have to like pause everything and just kind of wait it out. But the moments of clarity were better. They weren't angry. They were active. I was doing stuff. Again, going for walks, taking the kids around, exploring, all of this stuff. And I looked at my husband and I was like, I think I think I need to try to take myself off these meds. Now I say the words take myself off these meds. I will say that I worked with a with a doctor. This
yeah,
is not something to do on your own. I will beat that drum as much as I can because titrating off a medication is not for the faint of heart, and you need to work with a provider.
yeah,
Just full stop, you need to work with a provider. So again, strangely enough, I am at a general practitioner's office. I am not in a psychiatrist's office, and I tell her what I would like to do, and she agrees. Like, I don't know that you could find agreeable people if you tried, and I have now found two. So I feel pretty lucky in that
yeah.
aspect. And so we took our time with it and titrated off both of the medications that I was on at the time, one of which I remember was Seroquel, which it will grab hold. It grabs hold of you, and it is not easy to get off of it.
Oh,
So you feel worse off of it than you do on it.
yeah.
So that was a very slow process. But I don't know. I never realized that I would be having these interviews one day. So I didn't write down the the process. It just was over time and eventually was zero. But it was within that year. It was within the year. So that 2018, within that year, I was completely off all medications. One other important part of that process was letting my family know
Yeah.
that I wanted to do this and that I wanted to try it, and that they would notice symptoms before I would, and to please be honest with me if they start seeing stuff. And so my family would talk to me, and I'd check in with them, and they were like, no, you seem great. And, like you're awake more and you're doing things. And um, we like spending time with you, and we get to go do fun things now that we couldn't do before. And so I went off of them in 2018, and it is now 2025, and I have never been on any of those mental health meds again.
Wow. That's amazing. And it's just a testament to your perseverance, but also this metabolic therapy that it works. Getting your brain energetics in a better place, getting your metabolic health in a better place, and voila, the brain starts neurotransmitters start working better. Um, yeah, we had a similar experience with my dad. We also had to titrate down. I'm right with you. Let's reinforce, work with a healthcare professional while you're doing this because you need the help. You need that expert help. But it was the same thing. It felt like it was just horse tranquilizers. And yeah, you do succeed in helping the person not hurt themselves or do something dangerous because they're, our experience, he was hardly alive really on those things. So
It's
um,
really at the cost of your just life. I mean,
yeah,
just life in
yeah,
general. I mean, you
yeah,
you pay the price for them
yeah.
for sure.
And I'm not minimizing the profession and the they're tools that I'm sure, they helped in the short term for us, but in the long term, like you made that decision We desired a higher quality of life, so we made the decision. And yeah, those benzodiazepines, they're tough, so you need a healthcare professional. But you did it. So you get off these medications. You've been off them for years. You feel a lot better. And now, what happens to your cholesterol?
So, yeah, that kind of went wonky on me. So I lost a lot of weight and let's just say I ended up in the LMHR phenotype. So I'm a lean mass hyper responder. Now my triglycerides are low, but that LDL,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
one that everybody's worried about,
yeah, yeah.
is shooting up. Oh my goodness, the doggies. Sorry.
That's all right.
Um, so the LDL shoots up, and then I have this like series of me going to doctors and telling them I'm not going to get put on a statin for this because at the time, thankfully, Dave Feldman was out there
Yeah,
starting that ball rolling. Like when I'm finding out about these numbers, it's still not considered a phenotype yet. That hadn't come out, but he was working on it. Like so he was out there sharing his personal story, and then everyone else was kind of collectively sharing their stories and turning this into a thing. And I just had to kind of trust that my mental health being managed with the food that I was eating um, was more important than taking the statin that I didn't believe would actually do anything, and then changing the way I eat just to change that number. I always kind of looked at it as just this random number. I don't care about this number on a general basis. Why do I
yeah,
care about it every time I get blood work done?
yeah,
Everything else is looking great. I feel great. I'm walking now. I'm exercising now. I'm practicing yoga now. Like all of this stuff is happening. And I have to be concerned about this one number and medicate myself for it. It just doesn't make sense.
yeah,
So I just start going to one doctor labeled non-compliant, go to another doctor labeled non-compliant, go to another doctor labeled non-compliant. And I
yeah.
just got frustrated with it because I was actually having some issues. I I start to become aware that like I was getting like racing heart rates. I was having just like symptoms that were unexplainable. And I started to believe that I had some sort of thyroid condition, knowing that both of my parents have actually had their thyroids removed. So it was a
Mm,
pretty good likelihood that that's what was causing it. So I finally just said, I have to see someone who understands my lifestyle. So
mhm.
I start seeing Dr. Tro
Yes.
at his practice. And immediately he looks at the numbers and he's like, do you know about this LMHR phenotype? And I was like, yes, I do. He's like, well, and this is crazy because this is very early on. He's like, my medical training says that I have to put you on a statin.
Yeah.
And I know you're going to refuse. And I was like, yes, that's why I'm here.
Yeah.
So he's like, but it's really hard to kind of go away from that practice. Like I have to switch everything I know. He said, so I'm still concerned about this number
Mhm.
and I want to do something to manage this number. So we embark on a journey. So
Mhm.
instead of medicating this number, he's like, the theory is if you are completely low carb, and I will back up a second to say I had spent 6 months to a year, I'm not exactly sure, completely carnivore at this point.
Yeah.
So he goes, the theory would be if removing carbohydrates is going to make this number go up, this number that we might need to be worried about go up,
Yeah.
then adding some carbohydrate back in will help. So this starts this sweet potato journey that I
Yeah.
go on with Dr. Tro. I am not on medication. I'm on a sweet potato. The
Yeah.
food is thy medicine. So
Yeah.
it's started off with me being completely carnivore, adding one entire sweet potato
Yeah.
every day. And we kind of had some rules in place just to kind of make it consistent. It was the first food that I ate,
Yeah.
which I would not recommend, but that's where it is. It's the first food that I ate a day, and I could not add fat to it. So it was not slathered in butter. It was just a baked sweet potato
Yeah.
every day as my first food. I would wait maybe an hour or two before eating anything after that. That goes on, I believe, for 3 months.
Yeah.
I start getting symptomatic.
Mm.
Uh, uh, I'm starting to kind of drop the things that I enjoy doing. So it's becoming harder and harder to manage just like the fun things that I like to do for myself, the working out, the yoga, the walks, all that stuff. I'm doing them, but it's like I'm forcing myself through them. My kids start noticing that I have some anger. And the big trigger for me is the first thought I have when I open my eyes is I want to go back to sleep.
Mm.
And I start noticing the problems. This is, it's getting bad because I see it.
Mhm.
So I tell Dr. Tro, I'm feeling symptomatic. So, as any good doctor would do, let's manage this medication. So we
Yep.
moved to a half a sweet potato. I think that's 2 months, and the symptoms aren't going away. We moved to a quarter of a sweet potato, and I think we only did that 1 or 2 months, and the symptoms aren't going away. And I'm like, no, we're taking the blood work. And the LDL number is going down. So in that case, yeah, it's working,
Yeah.
but it's working at the expense of my mental health. And my mental health is vastly and more important to me than this number that I don't care about on a general day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
So we discontinued this, and it probably took 4 or 5 months for the symptoms to kind of release, like this brain fog to kind of release of me eating NSNG and mostly carnivore. After that, it's like a sweet potato, right? It's like
Yeah.
that's totally fine, right? The cravings were intense. Like I was fighting wanting to eat all of the other things. So,
Yeah.
I wanted to bring back that ice cream that I used to do back before I switched over. I like all of that just started flooding back. And it was becoming increasingly hard to fight for my diet and my lifestyle
Yeah.
because I just was having all these cravings and I was getting angry and I was tired and the things that I was doing that I enjoyed were disappearing. And so it's amazing that 3 4 months later I was still clawing my way out of that, even not having another sweet potato. Um, and seeking help. Like I consulted with Vinny because he does consults. So I consulted with Vinny, and he got me on an exercise plan. And it was not because I like doing it. It was like I have to turn this into a routine. I have to do this every day, or I'm just not going to do it. And
Yeah.
I know this is going to help me. So I'm like forcing myself through the motions to get myself to the other side, which does eventually happen. It took a long time to make that work.
Yeah. 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 It's incredible. Even just going down to a quarter sweet potato, but it's I guess it changes the metabolism so much, and you had the lived experience. You got to do what works, and you got to do what works for your mental health.
Yeah, I'm
So
actually thankful for having done that experience because I
yeah,
wouldn't know.
yeah,
So I think Dr. Tro thought I'd be like really angry with him. And I will be frank, at the time I was really angry. I was angry at everything. So I was angry that this was happening. And so maybe I may have projected that onto him. I don't know. But later, after things calmed down and I talked to him again, I'm like, no, I am thankful that I went through this
yeah,
because I may not have never known, and I may have said, you know what, I feel so great. Let me start just bringing things back in.
yeah,
And I could have taken myself off this deep end and then never recovered from it.
true.
So I know that I especially like right now the way I eat, I do still eat a little like if I go out for a steak dinner with my husband,
Yeah,
I will get a sweet potato,
yeah,
dry, no nothing on it, just a sweet potato. I
yeah,
bring butter from home and I put butter on it.
yeah.
Um, but that's very occasionally, it was definitely the every single day eating
Every
that
day.
amount of carbohydrate
Yeah,
was what put me over the edge.
yeah,
And I will never go back to back to back to back days
yeah,
like that for
yeah,
months on end eating that amount.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a good point. And who knows, man? Sweet potatoes. It's like every every like stock thing that you see on Yahoo or something like that. It's, sweet potatoes are one of the best health foods, but you just never know. That much sweet potato every day, oxalates, I don't know, beta carotene at that level. So plus, high starch, and low carb is what's worked for you. Ketogenics was worked for you. So right now you're in this sweet spot. What do you eat in general?
I still keep it always NSNG,
Yep.
always NSNG. So I never eat sugars, I never eat grains, and I don't eat sugar alternatives. That I just so it's basically I eat a lot of beef. Very occasionally I might do like very occasionally. Like this summer I decided, hey, maybe I should have some zucchini and squash because
Yeah.
I like it. And so, again, not an everyday thing, but every once in a while I might say, okay, just the steak on a plate's not enough. I want a little bit of something. So, um, but that's mostly it. Eggs, beef, meat. Unfortunately, I have never been a fish fan, so I don't eat a lot of fish. I wish I did. So, um, but yeah, that's pretty
Yeah.
much it. It's easier to say what I do eat than what I don't eat because I really just have cut it out. And a lot of people will say, well, wow, that's really hard. But because I've had these experiences,
Yeah.
I know what it does to me. So it's not hard. I know I'm managing my life with this, and I know what the consequences are if I don't. And I just don't want to go back there. So it's not worth it to me to try.
That's it. That's it. And it's a good move. I mean, the majority of your calories have a great protein to fat ratio. So satiation goes a long way. And I'm assuming that one of the reasons why you don't have too much trouble with cravings is because you are satiated for most of the day. So
I
that's
think that's a missed topic that gets overlooked a lot is that
yeah,
we will a lot of the suggestion within a ketogenic therapy is that
yeah,
you can still have like a sweetener or something like that. And I think it's a good transition.
yeah.
But we that doesn't take into account that people are addicted to it or at least
Yes.
drawn very heavily to it.
Yes.
So I had to be I just have to be abstinent of those things
Yeah.
because it comes back. I, Dr. Ben Bickman has a shake
Yeah.
health code, I believe it is, and I had a family member who was ill who needed to gain weight, and I
Yeah.
recommended that shake because it's got great macros.
Yeah.
I made it and dipped my finger in it and licked it, and I was like pinging.
Yeah.
I just wanted more. It's just it's a great it's completely ketogenic, but it doesn't take into the account how that sweetness will affect me.
Yeah.
So I just stay away from it. The sweetest thing I eat is blueberry or cherries.
Yeah. 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 Yeah, it's amazing, and even in those things, the way the glucose ends up in our bloodstream is so different from even all these other alternative sugars and whatever. I mean, they're really engineered to hit those dopamine centers, and once we start, it's hard to stop. So
Yeah.
you're doing a great thing with that. You talk about exercise. What you talk about walking, but what do you do now? Is there anything in particular that you do on a weekly basis that works for you?
Right now, my current regimen is that I work with Casey Ruff, if you know him from Boundless
Yeah.
Body Radio.
Nice.
I work with him. He's my trainer, good friend, and my trainer. So I work out with him once a week.
Yeah.
It's a full body to failure uh, workout, and then I do a second one on my own. It's a different. He helped set it up, but it's a completely different full body workout just to kind of like make sure we're hitting all the things. And so I only do that strength training twice a week. My my walking has gotten a little bit less and I want to bring it back. And I used to row. I have a rower. I have a concept two rower. And I used to row every day. And that got put up. My kiddo came home from college and we didn't have room for it. So it got put in the garage. I mean, we're at this point where
Yeah.
he's moved out again and I'm
Yeah.
bringing it back. So I can't wait to get that back. Because while I think strength training and building lean muscle mass is really where the money is.
Yeah.
Um, having a good metabolic heart rate is a good thing. So I do want to definitely bring that back. Unfortunately, I've just had a really rough, let's say 2 years. Um I was training Olympic weight training. I
Yeah.
don't think I had an injury, but I had this like strange infection that showed up in my arm.
Mm.
Um, I was put on antibiotics 4 times in 1 year.
Oh,
And I don't know how much you know, but some of these antibiotics actually
yeah.
will destroy your tendons.
Wow.
So I was like, this is like, here's your antibiotic, sit still,
Yeah.
don't do anything.
Yeah.
And it is very sad and unfortunate, but that path of laziness
Yeah.
becomes very comfortable. And I'm fighting that right now. I'll be honest, I'm fighting that right now. I'm having a little bit hard time getting out, which is why I call Casey. I'm like, Casey, I need you to kick me in the rear end and
Yeah.
get me moving again.
Yeah.
So it has been quite a process. He and our schedule has been very consistent, so that's been really good. But some of the other stuff that I used to do, the practicing yoga daily, that's still, I'm like, every month I'm like, I'm doing it again. And I
Yeah.
haven't started it back up. And so, but I will always consider myself a work in progress. I know there's more that I could be doing.
Yeah.
And I also need to understand that I have to focus energies in specific ways sometimes, and managing that has proven to be a challenging this past year, but I'm definitely working on it every day.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's great. I mean, look, you're busy and you're busy with some important stuff here that's helping other people. Can you tell us a little bit about your coaching practice?
Sure. So in the past year, well, a couple years, I had just friends that would reach out to me and they would just ask for help. So I would help them. I was also really active in like Facebook groups and stuff, just helping people out. So that's where people would find me. And one of my friends was like, "You're really good at this. Why don't you turn this into something?" So I started taking classes through the Nutrition Network to work on getting my full SMHP certification. I'm not completely finished all those yet. I finished all the core classes. I'm pretty excited about that. Now I'm working on my electives. And so in the meantime, I said, let's go for it. So I created a business. It's called Harbinger of Health. And I was doing one-on-one coaching. Really tragically, I lost a lot of people to wanting to take that easy way out. I could not convince them not to go on a shot to
Yeah.
lose weight. And
Yeah.
I never figured out how to get past that. So I kind of regrouped into this, you know what, community is really what helped me in
Yes.
my downtime, being able to talk to other people and get ideas from other people. So I have switched it
Yeah.
where I have a small group and I keep it real small. It's 8 people in this group,
Yeah.
and it opens up every 3 months. And I ask, we for 3 months we work together. We meet once a week via video call. I have a community set up where we can chat with each other every single day. I have a community that's actually open to everyone, but they have a private area where they can just talk to each other about the stuff. So I lead a topic, and usually what I do is I listen to what they're talking about in the chat, and I pick a topic based on what's currently going on with them. And I lead a topic. I just give a brief,
Yeah.
like really brief, let's talk about this topic, and
Yeah.
I open it up and just let everybody else talk, and it's been magical. I really enjoy working with this group, and it's evolved. There's been people that stayed, there's been people that have come, and there's been people that have gone, and but all in all, I really enjoy just having these conversations and being like, I'm having a really bad day today, and being able to go in this group chat and just say, I'm having a bad day, somebody walk me off the ledge because I want a candy bar. And we have that happen. And somebody else will respond like, stay away. You know what you need to do. You know how to get away from, it's not going to help you in the long term, that kind of stuff. So it's beautiful because it kind of takes on a life of its own. There's some guidance there from me, but most of it just it takes on its own life, and everybody just starts helping each other, and it's fun to be part of.
Yeah. That's beautiful. Like, community is so important and it's so needed today because statistically speaking, still the United States is a majority of unfortunately metabolic dysfunctional individuals. I mean, all the statistics just show it, and metabolic dysfunction has become the norm, and we've become tolerant and accepting of it. But this is why we have so much chronic disease. So if anyone wants to take that leap and fix their metabolic health, a community is so important. We need others to hold us accountable, to support us, to motivate us, whatever it may be. Um, so that's great. But in addition, can you tell us a little bit about? Well, actually, first, you also have a podcast, Ketobiography. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, the idea came from a friend of mine and I. We started this. It was originally called Less of Me Success Stories, which is a mouthful. So, really, I found so much inspiration uh, seeing, hearing, reading other people's stories. And I just felt like they needed a venue to get out there. Like I
Hmm.
didn't, like I said, I'm an avid podcast listener and I was enjoying listening to the doctors and the practitioners and the scientists, but I wanted to hear the personal stories. And I felt like we were getting deeper and deeper onto this whole like talking to the experts thing and not just hearing the story. So I wanted to start this thing where I opened it up to just regular everyday people to tell their journey and their stories so that hopefully it would inspire other people to try it. Just to try it. Like what's it going to hurt to try it for just like a month or three? I would recommend three. But I, and I just felt that that was important to get out there. Now, I have since becoming Ketobiography, I have ventured in. I was scared. I will say it. I was the limiting factor. I was scared to reach out to some of the experts out there, but I have since started doing that, and that's been exciting too to kind of get some of this background stuff, but also hear their stories. Like it's
Yeah,
always story first, and
yeah,
then you can tell me all about all the other stuff you're doing. But
yeah,
I like to hear the story because the way they got into it. It's more often than not some sort of personal journey, some
yes,
sort of personal history. And we lose that a lot of times when we just keep going deeper and deeper into the science. So I
yeah,
like to keep it at the story and hear and have that conversation.
yeah. I love that. We need more of that, and yeah, getting into the why, because there is a lot of science and there's a lot of how to, but you and I know both know that with the abundance of how to, it's not the how to that is the bottleneck in people making the transition from ill to healthy. It's inspiration, it's motivation, and being able to see others and hear about other people's stories on how they approach their adversity, overcome it. It's fuel to the fire. So I love that, and we'll definitely be linking your podcasts on the description below, along with the rest of your resources. But you're doing some work with Metabolic Collective. You're the community coordinator now. So tell us about this role and tell us about Metabolic Collective.
This is exciting because Eddie, this is like day two. So, back in February, I was at a COSI conference and was talking with Hannah Warren about Collective. I had known about it because, as a lived experience advocate, I was on one of their forums just to kind of, at the time, they were really just coming up with this is a grassroots effort. They're coming up with what does the community need?
Yeah.
And there's like a lot of answers to that question. So they were having a lot of these focus groups, and I happened to participate in one.
Yep.
And I said, I'd really like to get involved. I really would like to help get this thing off the ground. I have this thing inside of me that I've always had, which is I love grassroots efforts. I remember in high school, I had a t-shirt and it just said grassroots and it was written out of grass. It was amazing. I wish I still had it.
Yeah.
So I told her I'd really like to get involved, and so she just started putting me to these volunteer meetings that became a little bit more consistent,
Yeah.
and it still was very much in the brainstorming phase. Like we've gotten all this feedback, and we need to figure out how that's going to play into things.
Yeah.
But I can say, as of officially yesterday, I've been hired on to as this community coordinator. We are moving now from this kind of idea phase on
Yeah.
what collective can create to this doing phase. Like, let's invite people to come do things with us. So
Yeah.
I want to be clear about this. Like, the mission is to create community engagement.
Yeah.
We want to really want to get out of this bubble that we're in. Like, me and you know about metabolic therapies,
Yeah.
but we want this to expand. We want metabolic therapy available as a first choice for everyone. We
Yeah.
specifically are talking about mental health and neurology, but it
Yeah.
could be a first choice option for any number of different things.
Oh
And the
yeah.
more we can talk about it, the better.
Yeah.
So what we're really trying to do is create advocacy.
Yes.
So while we are kind of fostering a community of advocates, so we want people to join us and then take it outside of our bubble.
Yes.
If you're like me and you host a group, like the group that I host, which is within my business, could totally be volunteer as well.
Yeah.
You could reach out to people and pick some people and have a group and just teach them.
Yeah.
Our friend I spoke about earlier, Casey, he oftentimes in the summer will just host something at his neighborhood park, just
Yeah.
teaching about metabolic therapies.
Yeah.
Flyers.
Yeah.
We can create flyers and everyone can put flyers out there. Uh, I keep saying this, that the doors, like every single possible door is wide open.
Yeah.
And I think part of the problem with getting this off the ground is we actually need to shut some of those doors and focus on some of the smaller things to make it bigger.
Yeah.
There's a vast amount of ideas out there. Some of the background volunteers, these core volunteers, have actually already started some groups that are getting ready to launch.
Great.
We're speaking to each other in October. By November, we will be having community meetings. So hopefully this gets out before then. Emails to those who volunteer. I say volunteer, it's really the wrong word. If you go to metaboliccollective.org, you can sign up to become an advocate.
Yeah.
And from there, you will start getting emails from us. We haven't been sending very many because, again, we were in brainstorming phase and now we're in this action phase. We will start sending out information about some of the projects that we have that we're launching.
Yeah.
And some of this mission is to bring people together to form their own thing and take it out. Someone may have an idea and they need help, so they could come through us to find this pool of people who are anxious and ready to get and spread. We all have that in common. We all have this lived experience in common, and we want to go out and share it with everyone. So say I have an idea for something, but I just can't pull it off on my own.
Yeah.
You could come to our meeting and say, "Hey, this is my idea. I need some help. Does anybody out there want to help me get this thing off the ground?"
Yeah.
Also just creating little like communities based on your actual region and being able to meet people in person on a regular basis
Yeah.
to get this stuff out there.
Yeah.
We want to pop this bubble. We really want to get out there and pop this bubble.
Yeah.
And so I'm real excited to be part of this phase of it. Like I got to give my ideas in the beginning, and now we're actually going to execute them. And it's really exciting to get it off the ground.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that is exciting, and it's so needed right now. You hit the nail on the head. I, it's a for me. I really believe it's a matter of when, not if, when it comes to these metabolic therapies, these treatments being first line in the menu of options that medical providers can throw at their patients. And it'll take a little bit of time, but fantastic work that you do and metabolic, the volunteers and advocates at Metabolic Collective do. Um, it's how this has to get done. It's the only way the equation works because we'll have to wait too long, if ever, if we try to wait for the medical schools and the practitioners to get the training. The supply will change if demand changes. And demand from patients will not change if they're not aware of these first line treatments. And it's great to have a first line treatment and show them the science and maybe this works. But what's even better is when someone like Robyn shows up and says, "This is what I was diagnosed with, and that was then, and this is my quality of life now, and this is what I did to get there." Um, it's such a powerful testament to what's possible, and I commend the work that you're doing. I commend that all the work that Metabolic Mind and Metabolic Collective is doing. And yeah, I'd love to see this transition happen sooner rather than later, so that these therapies can be available for mental health conditions, for neurology. But like you said, metabolic dysfunction underpins every chronic disease. Whether it's heart disease or it's, the top five killers right now, other than accidental death, heart disease number one, number two, cancer number three. We've got neurodegenerative, number four, diabetic complications. So these are tough things, and we need metabolic therapies. We need people to get metabolically healthy. Um,
I would just be happy to know that brain health,
yeah,
brain health is what is leading the charge in that.
that's it.
If we can heal the brain,
Yeah.
then all of a sudden we're thinking clearly and we're like, oh, maybe I can heal this. Maybe I can heal this.
Yes.
Maybe so I think it makes perfect sense that the grassroots that is coming up that is going to lead this charge is all about brain health.
Yeah, absolutely. You said it there. Why not? Why not get the brain healthy? And it's like the way I look at it is, whether it's a psychiatric thing or it's we've had our experiences with neurologists, and our first neurologist, very, very little narrow band of blood work. There's so much more we could test for. There's so many things we could do other than just getting a medication. So this is tremendous. All right, one of the last questions I got to ask you is, if somebody's skeptical, right? They're looking for answers. What they've been doing isn't working, and they want to try a metabolic therapy. They want to try changing their diet, maybe nutritional ketosis, but they're skeptical. What would you tell them?
Well, I think if they have this idea that they should try, that there should be nothing that stops them, that they should definitely try. And as I mentioned before, don't try just for a month. Really commit to 3 months, because you will see in that first month you're still kind of going through a transitional phase. You want to see it through at least for 3 months, and usually when you hit 3 months, you will not turn back. It's you see how life is just wide open for you in a way that was never possible before. So, yeah, I would just say it doesn't hurt to try. But with the caveat, if you're on medication, you need to still work with some sort of provider.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Great. Excellent. And Robyn, where can people find you and your resources?
My website is harbingerofhealthllc.com. But that might be changing because I have this new opportunity in front of me. So that might be changing. So the best place to kind of keep up with everything is that I have a link tree. So it's Linktree Robyn R. Dobbins, and Robyn is spelled with a Y, not an I.
Yep.
So if anything changes, I always update it there. And that link can also be found on my X account, which is also Robyn R. Dobbins. So I'm around. I'm on the socials. And if worst case scenario, I'm now Robyn. My email is now robyn@metaboliccollective.org. So come reach out at Metabolic Collective, join us there, because it's really exciting. We have a lot that's coming forward, and what we really need is other advocates out there pushing this forward so that we can break through and reach the greater community with metabolic therapies, because everyone deserves to have that as an option.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely. Well, yeah, we'll link all of those in the description below. Robyn Dobbins, not a hard name to remember, so it'll be great. And thank you for everything you're doing. Thank you for everything you're going to continue to do with Metabolic Collective. And thank you for taking the time to share your story. It's an inspiring story. I know it's going to help a lot of people. It's going to break through some limiting beliefs or some limitations that we may have been conditioned from other providers or whatever it may be. People like you, for you to have gone through what you've gone through and then share your story and then help other people. It's a beautiful thing. So thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate you having me on, Eddie.